welcome to Board Game Breakfast. I'm standing here, I guess I'm in Canada right now, and this week is going to be an interesting week. There's a lot of things going on, but before we start Board Game Breakfast, I would like to invite you to Dice Tower Con. If you haven't signed up yet, don't delay. Dice Tower Con is this July in Orlando. It is the absolute bestest con in the world. Other great things are happening soon too. I'm doing a live Q&A later today, hopefully, as long as I haven't fallen asleep. So come back and check that out. Don't forget, you can go to Dice Tower Live to see when our live stuff's coming up. And we're going to be doing some live gaming this coming Friday, our pre-Tabletop Day coverage. And Tabletop Day itself, if you are in the South Florida area, come on down to Kendall. The cool stuff there, me, Sam, and Z will be there. Or if you go to the Hollywood store, Jason Levine, Stephen Bonacker will be at that one. Either way, come out and play some great games with us. I've even sworn not to bring new games, just games I already know how to play. All right, with all that being said though, let's get to the rest of the show, and we'll start, as always, with the news. Okay, not a ton of news this week, but let's see. There's a new, well, not a new, I've already reviewed it, the expansion for Lorenzo Il Magnifico, but I wasn't sure it was coming to America, but it is. It's coming from Simon, and it's going to be out this week. Get it? It's a great expansion. Race to the Newfoundland. This is coming from Z-Man Games. We actually saw an early copy of this. You're going to build a fleet, do a bunch of other Euro-y stuff, but it's a new, bigger box game. We'll find out more.
Happy breakfast, everybody. You won't get the games we're about to look at in time for this week's Tabletop Day, but maybe they'll inspire you to get out and play some games this weekend. Crypt is a portable, quick-playing game in which you're breaking into the King's Crypt to steal some promised treasure. Featuring dice placement and set collection as core mechanisms, Crypt lets players try to claim treasure cards by placing a die with any value they choose onto it. But the push your luck element comes into play because after cards are claimed, dice are rolled, and while high values will get you treasure, they are easier to exhaust and lose. Crypt plays up to 4 players and includes a solo mode, and a copy of the game takes a pledge of just $9 plus shipping. Jasco Games is bringing the Street Fighter miniatures game to Kickstarter. Part of a recent trend, this is a Kickstarter exclusive game, meaning it will not be available in retail stores later. If you're interested in Street Fighter miniatures, make sure to read up on Jasco's previous Mega Man campaign and game to ensure that you're fully informed. Street Fighter plays up to 6 players and includes 3 different modes of play, including team play, and it includes a plethora of quote-unquote collector's scale figures that reach up to 85 millimeters high and come pre-painted. Each character has a unique battle deck themed around their video game abilities, and you'll be moving around the board, blocking and attacking using dice-based battle mechanisms. Street Fighter has a bunch of add-ons and is endorsed by popular YouTube personality Angry Joe. A base set of the Street Fighter miniatures game costs you $80 plus shipping. Koali is running a campaign for reprints of Factory Funner and Habitats, both games I personally highly enjoy. Factory Funner has you placing machine tiles on your shop floor for money, but you have to connect inputs and outputs, and those cost you money. On top of all of that, there's a small speed element because you're choosing those machine tiles from a group laid out in real time. Factory Funner is engaging, colorful, and puzzly. Habitats I've actually covered as a separate campaign previously, but it stands up as a clever tile-laying game about building a wildlife preserve. You'll be aligning terrain to meet goals and animal needs, but getting those tiles means navigating a shared tableau with your pawn. Factory Funner takes a pledge of €37 and Habitats takes a pledge of €24 plus shipping. From the designer of Roleplayer comes Dual Powers Revolution 1917. This is a 2-player area control game set in early 20th century Russia. Players select secret objectives and use command cards to recruit and move units or take advantage of special abilities. Areas of unrest and blockades present scoring opportunities and barriers, and there's an interesting push-pull dynamic between a time track that will end the game and a kind of tug-of-war for the favor of the people and outright victory on a separate track. Dual Powers features art from the incredibly talented Kwanchai Moria and includes rules for solitaire play. You can get a copy of Dual Powers Revolution 1917 for a pledge of $32 plus shipping. Fleet Dice, coming from Eagle Griffin Games, highlights the more complex end of the roll and write spectrum. A sibling game to Matt Riddle and Ben Pinchback's hit game Fleet, in Fleet Dice, players use die rolls to get licenses and launch boats to catch fish. You'll gain income and catch those fish and work to unlock special buildings, go to market, activate ships, and more. And, of course, all of this is done on player sheets with a pen and those custom dice. Dice are gained through dice drafting, and this is really an example of how roll and write games can handle more complex game choices. A basic version of Fleet Dice takes a pledge of $19 plus shipping. All right, that's all I've got for you this episode. Hopefully something caught your eye. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Two brothers set loose in a thrift store. This is Thrift Store Throwbacks.
What's up, everybody? We are the Brothers Murph.
Happy breakfast.
Indeed.
You know, we've played a lot of games at thrift stores, and one game that we played recently is Dr. Dreadful's Scab and Guts game.
Ew.
It was not fun.
So we play a lot of games from thrift stores, and we know how they all play. They're usually terrible, but the real question is...
How do they taste?
Good question. Time for a taste test.
Well... Okay, but
Good.
we also have another Dr. Dreadful product, but this is actually something you can eat. It's Dr. Dreadful's Zombie Stomach Churner, so you don't have to eat that.
You saw how it's made, you know, so here's a moment of truth.
Here's the thing. Before we drink it, I want to say that these types of contraptions are things that we wanted so badly.
Oh, I
as
know.
kids.
I've always wanted one. We had an easy-bake oven when we were kids. That was it. Always saw these. Always wanted like the creepy crawly things you get to eat. Oh, gosh.
Always wanted this stuff. Now, I'm a little less excited because these packages, while new, are coming up on 4 years full on
and
expired.
They smelled not great.
Oh, man. So, if you don't see us next week, you know why. In case we do kick the bucket right now, check out our YouTube channel, The Brothers Murph. It was fun while it lasted. And, cheers. Oh, man. Oh, gosh.
Oh, what
Taste.
is that even?
Old. Oh. It doesn't get better with the second sip. Oh, golly. I can't imagine that being great even if this was new, and it definitely tastes expired. Why do we keep drinking it?
Oh, this is really bad. No, seriously, this is not good.
That was not fun. That was not good. This is maybe the first time I'm happy to be an adult, and I don't have to do those things anymore.
God, that sucks.
The game was not good. This thing is not good either. But the pumping and stuff was kind of fun.
That was
kind of cool.
Oh, it's like in the back of my mouth.
We'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your breakfast, because this is awful.
Oh, please don't eat this for breakfast.
Hi, Mike Delisio from Solo Mode Games. Last week on Board Game Breakfast, I was looking through the segments and I came across the always wonderful Nick and Mike Murphy, the Brothers Murph, and they were talking about this being their 1 year anniversary on the show, and it kind of sparked me because I thought, you know, I got to be coming up on that too. And so I went back and I looked through, and it turns out that I'm actually a little bit ahead of that. My 1 year anniversary on the Dice Tower Board Game Breakfast show was on April 10th. And so it's a little bit more than 1 year, but it's still a great time for reflection, and at the risk of kind of doing what the Brothers Murph did, I just really want to express my gratitude. This has been such an amazing ride so far, really, truly incomprehensible to me that I've been given the opportunity to do this, and that I've been given so much appreciation and love and support and incredible comments and feedback, and people reaching out to me both through email and messaging and coming up to me in person at conventions and just expressing how much they appreciate what I do. And honestly, it's hard for me to even respond to it because This has been such an absolute and utter joy for me. If this content gives anything to anybody, it really makes my heart sing, because I do it for the love of the hobby. I've met the most amazing people that I've ever met doing this. Just purely wonderful people in a fantastic hobby that I know that we all share and love. And so I just want to express my thanks to Tom for giving me this ridiculously amazing opportunity. I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch and support both Board Game Breakfast and on my Solo Mode Games YouTube channel. I just cannot express to you how much I appreciate all of the support. As always, thank you for your time, and have a great day.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen, the board game librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with this week's segment of From the Page to the Table. If you were like me in high school, it was like a rite of passage in freshman year in English class reading Edith Hamilton's mythology. Many of us are really familiar with Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, but are you familiar with Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman? So this is really quite horrible for me to admit, and I might blow up the internet by saying this, but I've never read Neil Gaiman before. Yeah, it's terrible. I know. I don't know how that ever happened in my reading life, in my library life. Neil Gaiman is awesome. And I discovered that very clearly with Norse mythology. He's a huge supporter of libraries, and I finished this book and then I was like, how have I never read Neil Gaiman before? Epically written, beautiful stories, completely readable, just so immersive. I read it like it was candy, and so way better than Edith Hamilton's mythology. But as I was reading this, I was really, really reminded of one of our favorite two-player games, Thunder and Lightning, by Richard Borg and published by Z-Man Games. It's part of their Games for Two line, and it has very much a Stratego feeling to it, where you set up your battlefield, 3 lines going, and it's just this back and forth battle between Loki and Thor. As I was reading Norse mythology, I kept thinking of the artwork and the characters in Thunder and Lightning, and just the epic battle at the end of Norse mythology really, really reminded me of Thunder and Lightning. As always, I'll see you on Instagram, and read on.
What's up, everyone? I'm Danny.
And I'm Derek, and this is
You Bet Your Bippy. In this segment, we're going to give you some fun facts about a game so you can strike up a conversation at your next game night. And this week's game is Wonderland. Wonderland is a micro card game designed by Daniel Solis and illustrated by Beth Sobel.
It's also a international tabletop game exclusive that is brought to you by Renegade Games. Hey Danny,
What's up?
did you know that April 28th is International Tabletop Day?
Actually, yes. That's why we're doing this segment.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, did you know that Daniel Solis, the designers for Wonderland, has also designed 8 other games, and he'll be celebrating Tabletop Day at Atomic Empire in Durham, North Carolina.
Looks like we're road tripping up there.
Looks like it. You
Just
bet your
kidding.
bippy.
Well, did you know that Beth Sobel, the talented artist and awesome person, has illustrated over 30 different games in this industry.
Oh my goodness.
And she'll be celebrating International Tabletop Day at her best friend's board game pub called Rook and Rogue in Bellingham, Washington.
Oh, how cool, really?
You bet your bippy. We'll be flying from North Carolina to
We're
Washington.
going all over the place, y'all. How will you be celebrating International Tabletop Day? Please let us know in the comments below.
And make sure you guys keep an eye out for Wonderland, a Tabletop Day exclusive. And if you're out in the Central Florida area, make sure you guys look out for us. We'll be at Cloak and Blaster. And if you already haven't, follow us all over social media. We'll be on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook.
All right, and we will see you next week for another episode, and happy breakfast, everyone.
Happy breakfast. Time for waffles.
Time for waffles.
Howdy folks, welcome to By the Numbers. My name is Hunter Thomason with the Family Showdown. On By the Numbers, we look at a board game numeric related topic. This week's topic is the board game hobby more expensive these days? Recently, I've seen many discussions about how the board game hobby is getting more expensive these days. But is it truly more expensive than it was in the past? Let's take our Wayback Machine back to the 80s and look at some holiday catalogs from Sears and Montgomery Wards. Ah, the 80s, such a wonderful time. Look at those socks. Taking a look at the 1981 Montgomery Ward's catalog, we see the infamous Dark Tower on sale for $39.88. In 2018 dollars, that would be $109.49. Not a bargain. But Dark Tower does have fancy electronics, so let's look at a more standard board game. Taking a look at the 1983 Sears catalog, we see the game Civilization for $16.99. What a bargain. But looking at that price in 2018 dollars, that is $42.57. Coincidentally, if you look on Cool Stuff Inc., cool stuff in stock. Civilization, A New Dawn, the brand spanking new Civilization game, is $42.49. 8 cents cheaper than the price of Civilization in 1983 in relative dollars. So is the board game hobby getting more expensive? Game for game? Probably not, but we're probably buying more games than we did in the 80s.
Hello guys, I'm Cardboard Rhino and welcome to Rhino Says Yes. Today I have with me a beautiful and simply seductive two-player game, Hanamikoji. In Hanamikoji, two players compete to earn the favors of the 7 geisha masters by collecting performance items to charm them. To win the game, you'll have to either charm 4 of the 7 geishas or score at least 11 charm points. You lay down the 7 geishas, which have different points that also correspond to the amount of their item cards that are in the deck. On top of each, you place a victory marker exactly at the center of the card. Each player takes a set of 4 action markers. The round starts with the dealing phase, where you shuffle all the items, remove one of them from the round and deal 6 cards to each player. Then, in the action phase, the players will take turns doing 1 action per turn, whichever one they choose, until they've used all of them, and every turn they draw a new item card. You can place a card face down and score it at the end of the round. You can discard 2 of your cards, and the other 2 actions require your opponent to make a choice. In the gift action, you reveal 3 of your cards, your opponent chooses 1, and you keep the other 2, and you both place them on your side next to the corresponding geisha. In this one, you put down 2 pairs of cards, and the opponent chooses 1, and you keep the other 1. When the actions are all performed, you reveal the secret card you chose to score, and you count. You win a geisha if you have offered more items than your opponent. If the 2 sides have no cards or there is a draw, the victory marker does not move. Note that even if you had won the geisha in a previous round, you may lose her if the opponent brings her more charm items in the next round. The beauty of this game is that it's so simple but yet requires a lot of thought. It's just a few carefully designed and tight mechanics and some very nice illustrations, and it's enough to make you want to carry this game around with you. It's best played with some coffee or tea and biscuits in some nice balcony. So Rhino says yes to Hanamikoji. You should definitely give it a try.
My name's Annette, and you may know me as Netters Plays. And today on Applied Mechanics, I'm going to go over something a little different. I'm going to go over one of my shelves. And this is a shelf that I recommend new gamers for, especially since International Tabletop Day is on its way. So, let's get to it. So this is a shelf where I dedicate most of my gateway, family weight type of games. So whenever someone comes over and they're not used to all these different games in my house, I point them in this general direction. I tell them they can pick out any game and I can show them. And most of these games are really easy to teach and easy to learn. So you can see that there's a common thread between certain games. For example, on this side you have games that hold a lot of players that are also group type games. Like, for example, Word Slam and Codenames, where it's not that they're being singled out, but they get to work with other people. So games in the center here are games that are very cute and bright and colorful on the table. These games right here are something that I would suggest people that tend to have that misinterpretation of games being bland or dry. These games really pop out on the table. So over here I have other common games that are dealing with tile laying, where they have games like Carcassonne and Quirkle, or even Einstein, which is a little unique and different. Number 9 also I refer to as a Tetris type of game, which is always inviting because most people know what Tetris is all about. So as you can see, these games on my shelf are great games to introduce new gamers to. And the reason for that is because they're attractive and appealing. The component quality of these games are great and they are easy to introduce. You want to make sure you have a game that you can easily teach as well as gamers to learn from. And that's why I really suggest this shelf to new gamers. So what other games do you suggest? Well, thanks so much for watching. Have fun on International Tabletop Day, and we'll see you next time. Bye!
Hi, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Francis.
And welcome to another episode of Ant Lab Games Office Hours.
So this is a short segment where we talk to you about the finer points of board gaming.
All right, today we're going to talk about the art of introducing a new player to the board gaming hobby.
Ah, yes. And we're going to start today by talking about framing the entire experience. It's like step 1,
Yep.
right? So what we mean by that is taking the experience of board gaming and making it fun for the other person, kind of making it more than just board gaming, right?
Right.
So what you need to do first is know your partner's strategy, style, and also their taste.
So what kind of games do you usually play?
I mean, we played like Monopoly and stuff as a kid. Like Scrabble, Boggle.
All right, so Monopoly, you like tokens and building buildings, properties and stuff like that?
I mean, I liked the spelling. I mean, the tokens were okay. I was always the thimble, though.
All right, so I've got the perfect game. Perfect game. You're going to love Agra. Right, so in that example, you obviously don't want to introduce a new player to something that's very thematically strong, or even like, I wouldn't necessarily say overly complex, because some people can handle that, but as long as you really know what your partner is into from a theme perspective and
from a strategy standpoint.
From a strategy and from a mechanics perspective. If they love Yahtzee, you're probably going to want to start with some sort of dice game.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. We hope you enjoyed our tips for today. That's about all the time we have.
Yeah, so, unfortunately.
Yeah. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Francis.
We're from Ant Lab Games. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Hey everybody, it's Christina from Girls Game Shelf. I'm back because it is almost International Tabletop Week. I thought that today I would share with you some of my past game crushes. A good indicator for me that I have a crush on a game is when I go to sleep and close my eyes, all I can think about are the mechanics of the game and what I should have done on that last move, etc., etc., etc. My first game crush ever was Innovation. And Innovation is important to me because it was also my first flip the table game. I didn't actually flip a table. It was a comforter. Innovation made me so angry because it was the first game that I ever played with this intense take that element to it. But that's also what really intrigued me about the game. That on top of the fact that it just has this beautiful theme where you're moving from the Stone Age into modern times using different kinds of achievements and advancements. It's one of my favorite games now, but it definitely took me a while to be able to step away from it when I first learned and make room for other games. The second game that was a crush of mine for a while was kind of an unhealthy relationship. I wanted to play San Juan because I could not beat my husband at it. San Juan is based on the game of Puerto Rico. It's all about creating a city where you have the most points. And it's a lot of fun, and yes, I did eventually beat him. My current crush that I have not been able to move away from is Tortuga 1667. I think the reason that I'm crushing on Tortuga so hard right now is because it is just such a sublimely beautiful little game. Inside this tiny little box, there's a perfect little mat of the island of Tortuga, character cards that are modeled after real historical pirates. Also in this game, the take that element is strong, and the theme is so present. So I highly recommend all of these games. They are not for the faint of heart, and I hope that you'll be playing all of your game crushes on International Tabletop Day. See you next time.
Happy breakfast, everybody, and to do something slightly different because Tabletop Day is coming up, I thought I'd show you what's on the shelf, or at least this bit. So first of all, it's Terraforming Mars, which at the moment is going really good on my 10x10, and it's just a really enjoyable one where you're surprisingly terraforming the planet of Mars. It's complicated, but once you've got in and sort of read through all the cards, amazing game. The next one is Civilization. This is the brand new one, so some people don't like it too much, but I've really enjoyed it, even though combat's abstracted out quite a lot. It's an enjoyable one where you've really got to work out what order you want to play your cards in. So good one to check out for some people, especially Civ fans, because it's still got the look of Civ. Next up we have one bit of Scythe, followed by the main bit of Scythe. Now this is heavy and it's not even got like the custom inserts or anything in. It's a glorious box, isn't it? It's full of stunning artwork from the box to the cards. The encounters are just amazing, the way you can sort of be nice and get a bit nasty and get a lot but pay the penalty in popularity. It's a Cold War sort of war game, not really war game, more strategy game. Just really enjoy this one. And last but not least, I've not got much further than about April, maybe May in this one, but really enjoying Pandemic Legacy Season 1. I mean, if you've not played it, I've not played much of it, but I can tell you it's great fun, but I won't go further than that. Anyway, that's what's been on this part of the shelf. I just thought I'd do something a bit different. I hope you guys have enjoyed sort of this, and I hope you have a great tabletop day if you're doing anything. Oliver East, signing out.
Have you ever been curious about the books that are on my shelves? Hi, I'm Chris Renshaw from the Boards and Swords podcast, and welcome to Roleplaying. Like many other contributors, it has been 1 year about-ish since I started doing these role-playing segments, so I thought I'd take a look at one of my sections of shelves. Basically, I wanted to start here at this cube, because this cube is not only it's the beginning of the alphabet. So starting off here, we have Adventures in Middle-earth. This is actually, it's by Cubicle 7, but this is a Lord of the Rings RPG that uses the D&D 5th edition rule set, but allows you to play for Middle-earth. And going along with that, I've had this book forever, but it's just a Tolkien bestiary about a bunch of different monsters. Next to that, we have Apocalypse World, 2nd edition. This is one of the first RPG Kickstarters I backed. This is Battletech, and I've got both the original FASA box set here, in addition to the Catalyst box set here. This is a minis game, but they're up here because the game ties into what used to be MechWarrior, but now is the Battletech game. And this right here, this was the first RPG book I ever bought, and you can tell it's shown its age. I bought this at a comic book store in the mid-90s, or the late 90s, somewhere around there. Early 2000s, I don't know. I've always been kind of wanting to go back and rekindle that Battletech feel. That's why I picked up the box set, and I actually picked up the most recent RPG version, which is called A Time of War. Next to that, I have talked about this briefly, but this is the collector's edition for Blades in the Dark, which is powered by the Apocalypse game, but is all about doing a heist. And then lastly, got Call of Cthulhu back there, and Bluebeard's Bride, which is like an urban fantasy horror game. So there you go. There's a look at what's on one of my shelves. Do you want to see the rest of my shelves? I could do a series with more of them. Let me know down in the comments below if that's something that would be worthwhile to you. In the meantime, make sure you follow me on all the various social media platforms, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and until next time, may all your hits be crits.
Hey, this is Mike with the Board Game Makeover. Many times during the week, I will purposely stop at thrift stores looking for items and special things that I can use in board game makeovers. Sometimes I find some great stuff and I'll add it into a board game makeover. Sometimes I don't. In this episode, I'm going to show you my top 5 items that I have found at thrift stores, but have not found the perfect fit in a board game makeover. Let me show you what I found. This item, which everyone knows to be an electronic fly swatter or bug catcher or whatever, executioner. This is awesome because it makes cool noises when dust hits it or flies hit it. I thought maybe bugs in a kitchen or something like that, but I just can't find a good use for this in a board game makeover. So for now, I guess it's just gonna have to go on the shelf and be useful in other ways. This is a really cool decision-making spinner. And anything can be taped over these things. The problem, though, is that it just spins and spins and spins, and people might get annoyed at waiting for the results. I found these dice at a thrift store, and I'm pretty sure they go to some kind of math game based on the high number value. But I don't know a good board game that these can go in to make it more fun and exciting. Maybe Monopoly, just to make things go a little faster, perhaps. Now, this very large ornament piece has a world on it of some sort. As you can tell, it's a perfect D20 made of metal. This would be perfect in a game that uses a D20. All I have to do is somehow write the numbers on there. And if your game only took a D19, just write 19 of the numbers on there. But either way, this would be a great fit in a game, but it's so big, I don't know what game this would go in without damaging the table. These pop-o-matic dice are awesome. They make great noises when they pop, and they should be used in a very fun board game. If I was able to switch out the dice with maybe a D8, 12, 20, whatever they use, and maybe use this in D&D. You know, you can roll, I'm rolling for strength or fighting or whatever they do in D&D. This would be perfect. Maybe a little annoying, but other than that, I don't have a good use for these in a board game yet. So finding cool stuff at thrift stores is fun, and then trying to think of a place to put them into a board game makeover is just as fun. The problem is, I've had these items for quite a while and have not found a good board game makeover to put them in. If after seeing these items and you have a good idea to put this into a board game makeover, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching the Board Game Makeover. I will see you next time.
Hello! So, I'm in the middle of talking to you guys about my favourite card games. But I'm going to interrupt that genre-defining video series. And by the middle, I actually think I mean literally just started. It's like me saying I'm in the middle of sorting my life out, which I've yet to start. But I'm going to stop that series just for one segment because I really need to talk to you before someone else gets to you first about a game called The Mind. Okay, so if you've been on Instagram and Twitter, you'll see that The Mind has actually done the rounds quite a lot. I thought, small box card game? German? I'm in, 100%. Let's do it. So I bought it and I played it and it's real good. But without getting too much into the rules, basically, you have 8 rounds-ish where you all have cards and you can't talk and you've got to put down cards one at a time in silence. But that's not all, because that would be a boring game. You've got to put down the cards in order lowest to highest. But you can't say, I've got the 3. I'm going to pop that down before you put down your 78. Oh no, someone jumps in with a 52 and then you hate them. Because that's stupid, that's a dumb move and they shouldn't have done that. The Mind is extremely simple. Not my mind, of course. My mind is like a garbage fire. But this game is everything that Hanabi should have been. And I love Hanabi. There's something hilarious about playing this game. And it's just one of the best small box card games I've played in a very long time. And I always want to try games like that. So I really, really, really suggest you try and pick it up. And I'll see you next week. Bye.